Hey, good morning, everyone. So welcome to the GeoViewer Summit 2023. Thank you all for coming. So my name is Dave Monwell. I'll be your MC today. And so just a couple things before we get started. After each presentation, we'll have 10 minutes for Q&A. If you would just raise your hand, and then once the mic is handed to you, then you can go ahead and ask your question, and that is for the purpose of our audience on Zoom. So we have a full agenda today. We have guest speakers and partners. They're all available for answering questions during breaks, during lunch, and even at the end in our social hour. So today, this morning I have the honor and privilege of introducing a man who needs no introduction. His vision, his passion, his work ethic, and his refusal to take no for an answer has brought GeoViewer and Nobel Systems to where we are today and continue to achieve great things. So it's my honor to introduce to you the president of Nobel Systems, Michael Samuel.
Thank you, Dave. You embarrassed me. So, good morning, everybody, and friends and attendees of this summit. First and foremost, my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us today. And your presence is really going to make this event a grand success. We're honored to have each and every one of you here. I want to definitely give a shout out to my existing customers. You guys are my MVPs. And without your support and loyalty, we would not be where we are today. And thank you so much. Your trust in our software, our mess ups, our screw ups, and several times, it's not that it's always worked to perfection, but you've been with us and sincerely appreciate all your help. Now I want to just introduce my staff, because without them, there would not be a company. I just started this company. I didn't do much, but the true guys who make this company a success are with me here today. So let me start with Balaji. Balaji, can you come forward? So how long have you been with me, Balaji?
25 years.
So he's been with me 25 years. I just wanted to say the longevity of each of the guys who are working for me, I don't see any of them as wanting to leave, and they're still here. And then Dave Manua, he's my Vice President, Customer Success. He's there, he talks. He's been with me for the past 8 years. And then I have Tanmay, and that's him there. And he's an interesting character. He started out from Colorado State University just 3-4 years ago and knew nothing about IoT and how pressure systems work. And fortunately, I had Tom of Roland be the guinea pig. And thank you, Tom, but he made it work. Yes, thank you. And then I have, I should not say my nightmare, but I'm going to say it, my daughter, Arita. For those who have daughters, you'll know what I mean, but she's been instrumental in creating the software, and thanks, Arita. Then I have Jabina at the back. Jabina, and all of you know Jabina because she's, I'm sure she's talked to all of you, and she's really responsive. And then I have June Reyes from the Philippines. He's my operations manager. And he also has been with me for the past 10 years. When I started the company in the Philippines, he was one of my first employees, and he's not left me. So perhaps I'm doing something right. And then the last but not least is Aya. She's from the Philippines, and she's going to be here and support all of you in your future projects as well. So some of you might be wondering, what can we actually do with the software for those new customers? We have some examples to show you thanks to our amazing customers. You'll be amazed at the incredible things that they've achieved using GeoViewer, and I'll just leave it to them to explain and show what they've done. And before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let me just say, if anyone is feeling lost or overwhelmed, don't worry, we got you covered. Our customers here are going to talk about how easy and everything is to use in GeoViewer. So let me end by thanking you again for being here. Let's make the most of this summit, and let's continue to make the world smarter, safer, more sustainable. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Michael. So our first speaker has been influential in the water industry for over 24 years. He has served in leadership roles for several water agencies within the region. He was appointed general manager of Roland Water District in 2014 after serving as the district's assistant general manager. He founded and chaired the Central Basin Small Water Producers Group, established to protect the groundwater interests in small groundwater rights holders and producers. He has earned certificates in multiple areas, including treatment, delivery, resource management, and leadership. He holds a state California Grade 5 water distribution certificate and a Grade 3 water treatment certificate. He's always willing to share his knowledge, experience, with others and Nobel staff. And it's been enormous, because without feedback from you, our clients, we can't improve upon our software. So we really rely on you to provide feedback, and we appreciate that. He's always looking to improve his processes through technology, and he's been instrumental in pushing technology in making his processes better and improving on his workflows, all for the delivery of clean and safe water to the public. So please give a warm welcome to the General Manager of Roland Water District, Mr. Tom Coleman.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Good morning, guys. It's nice to see everybody. It's a great day. It's raining in California, right? For us water folks. So thank you for that warm introduction, David. I think I'm going to need to update the resume because I started in the water industry in 1991, so going on 32 years for me. I did want to share that when Michael reached out to me to be a part of this conference, I said yes to him because I value Michael's relationship. And, you know, Michael said something about things being difficult at times. And we find that in all aspects of our life. Nothing's perfect. And we have challenges at home. We have challenges in the workplace. We have challenges with attorneys and consultants and engineers. We have challenges with other agencies that are our colleagues and peers. And it's important to us not to throw in the towel. Relationships matter, partnerships matter. And so when Michael asked for me to present today, I was more than happy to do that. Not that Nobel hits a home run for us every time, but Nobel never throws in the towel. They've been a great partner. And so we went to lunch and we met and had lunch, and I asked him what he would like for me to present on. And as we were leaving to go to lunch, he was driving. And I don't know how many of you know this, but Michael drives a nice car. And his car costs more than my first home. Now, my first home, I bought it in 1994, but it costs more than my first home. And he said, "You want to drive it?" And I was like, "Oh, no, Michael, I'm not going to drive your car." And so we went and had lunch, and we went over, you know, what he wanted me to talk about. And we got back to this vehicle, and he goes, "Tom, seriously, like, drive it." And so I got in it, and he began to tell me that it's a 12-cylinder vehicle. And so I stepped on that gas pedal, which has about 8 more cylinders than my car, and it was pretty nice. And I was feeling good about, the whole thing. And then I saw, I'm the first presenter. And then I saw that the event was free, and you get what you pay for. So here we go. So Roland Water District, I'm guessing I pushed the green button. So Roland Water District was established in 1953. In fact, next Friday is our 70th anniversary of being a district. We provide water to about 58,000 customers. We are located in the southern eastern part of Los Angeles County. And what's not on here that you can read for yourself is we're a staff of about 25 full-time employees. We have 14,000 metered connections. I think if you look at your own agencies, you'll see that we operate kind of light. We don't have a lot of full-time staff. And the reason for that is we do a lot of cost analysis. We look at what it costs to hire a full-time employee and those legacy costs of doing so. And so we use a lot of technology, and a great partner in offsetting our labor costs has been Nobel. So these are some of the things that we've worked with Nobel on. I was talking to Eric Green, I think is his last name. He'll be presenting later today, but he's with the city of Hesperia, and they use another program in partnership with Nobel, which is called CityWorks. I don't know how many of you are familiar with CityWorks, but we started using that program at Roland about 10 years ago, and it was too big. It was too cumbersome. It was too difficult for just a water district. It makes sense for a county, a city, maybe even a community services district, but just for a water district, it was too big. And so we approached Nobel about 10 years ago, and we talked to him about inventory module and creating inventory for us through GeoViewer. Michael talked about TANMAY and working with TANMAY on IoT, the Internet of Things, and that was a fun project that we did together. We just went through a transition of replacing all of our meter components, not the meter bodies, but the head of the meter. We did do some body conversions, but we converted everything over to AMI, and we did that in 3 years. And Nobel was instrumental in helping us set up GeoViewer to capture all that information as we went meter to meter, doing pictures and photographs, uploading the coordinates of the meter locations so that we would have that also uploaded into GeoViewer. Prior to that, we just had a line drawn to every property showing that a meter went there. Now we've gone through and we actually know where those meters are on the property. We've done sample inspections for reservoirs. We're a chloraminated system, so Nobel helped us to develop those programs within GeoViewer. We were very early on working with GeoViewer on a valve turning program, and then the natural thing was our valve replacement, and so they've worked with us on developing all those components within GeoViewer. Leak reports, proactive service line replacements, and then very importantly, we were very early on with Michael in developing service orders and having that directly link into our billing system, and then work orders, asset management, capturing job costs. We worked with Michael on that. So I wanted to go through this very quickly because I know there's pictures of this in my PowerPoint, but I don't want to take too much time. I know we're on a tight schedule. So this is our inventory module. Field staff are able to take pictures of equipment. They enter it right into GeoViewer, and it's pulled out of inventory. Our facility maintenance person is then able just to run a report, and he sees everything that's come out and what he needs to order to replace. It's very streamlined. The full evolution of this would just be QCR codes that are scanned and a number is entered instead of manually entering it, and we're still developing that, but it's worked very well. IoT, Internet of Things, these are basically pressure transducers that communicate over cell phone technology that have been integrated into our telemetry system. We were approached by Nobel on this, and the early versions are what most of us have, and they're transitioning now and updating this technology, but the early version was solar power. So battery operated with a solar panel that is recharging the battery, which has worked very well. And we worked with Nobel to create that technology into an air release can. But like I said, they're now on an evolution of this product, which I think you'll hear more about. And then meter replacement, I already told you about that. We replaced all 14,000 meters. We've gone fully AMI, and Nobel was instrumental in helping us capture all that information. Samples and inspections for reservoirs, RCS, and pumps. And so this is important to us operationally. We deal with chloramines, water ages, chlorine ages, ammonia doesn't. Ammonia becomes food for bacteria, creates nitrification. And so we were early adopters of a technology called reservoir control systems, where we're reintroducing chlorine and ammonia at our reservoir sites. Each tank has a circulating pump inside the tank that's turning the tank over. The chemicals are reintroduced into the circulation pump, and we're maintaining those water qualities. And Nobel was instrumental in helping us capture all of those reads and then incorporating them into our GIS. Same thing with valve replacement and repairs. Nobel has helped us with that in creating this report. So we have a proactive valve replacement program as part of our capital improvements plan. And so this is just a side note, we contract out our valve turning because we found it to be much more cost effective, about $70-something thousand a year versus 2 full-time employees at about $250,000 a year. This is the form that we use with Nobel, GeoViewer. And then leak reports, and then proactive service line replacements. We're not waiting for service lines to fail, and this is part of my discussion that I want to go in deeper with you all. And then completed work orders. We're tracking manpower, equipment, labor, parts used, and then cost to perform that repair. And then completed service orders. This is what goes back to customer service. Customer service then runs this report, verifies everything, and then is able to upload it into our utility billing software, which is Cassell. So customer service creates the service order. Nobel receives that service order. It's pushed out through iPads. All of our field staff have iPads. Staff's able to view it and then complete that. And then field staff does all the details pertaining to the request, and then that goes back to customer service, and then it's finalized in Cassell. So here's the real reason I'm here to visit with you folks. We really believe in this next effort that we're doing with Nobel. And Nobel came to us and said, hey, Tom, we want to do AI. And again, Michael tasked Tanmay with this effort. And so we started looking at this, and my question to Michael is why? Why us? And Michael's response was, you use our technology in a very broad way. A lot of our customers aren't using all the components that you guys use. and you've been doing it for a long enough time, we believe we have enough data and historical information to build a pretty robust artificial intelligence integration program for you. So we've gone through a number of consultants in this process, and we've been working with Nobel for a number of years now. A lot of you may have heard of Fracta. Fracta is not an unknown name in the AI world. Fracta is an established entity. A lot of you may not have heard of KTM. KTM is an entity that bridges the gap between GIS and the hydraulic model, right? And so one of the things that we've gone through in this process is updating our hydraulic model. So, and the reason we needed to do that is we needed to build our model differently. A lot of you have models that are built, and the model is built just to look at pressure and flow capacities in your water mains. It's built to look at, how much water you can produce out of a pump or a booster pump to run fire flow analysis. But in this system, we want to look more broader, right? In a true AI system, you want to see every meter. You want to see every service line. Most hydraulic models aren't built to account for that much infrastructure. It takes time to develop a model that way, and most model designers don't want to build it to include all those components. So we, in being a developer of this technology with Nobel, we went to that effort. So we've updated our hydraulic model, and we have every asset within the model. So, and then that has been provided over to KTM, and KTM is now taking a living version of our hydraulic model, or they're taking our hydraulic model and they're making it a living hydraulic model. So how many of you, when you install a new water main or build a new booster pump station or drill a new well, how many of you provide that information to GeoViewer so that it's uploaded and your systems are kept accurate, right? We're all doing that, or we should be doing that. So, but they just do that, right? And then you look at GeoViewer and you're like, oh yeah, there's the new water main, or there's the new pump station, or there's the new well, or there's the new reservoir. You're able to see that. Well, now when that happens for Roland, that information is shared with KTM. And KTM is automatically plugging that into our hydraulic model. There's not a gap in the learning of our hydraulic model. A lot of us build a hydraulic model and it sits for 10 years. And then maybe 10 years we look at updating that hydraulic model, and it's a very long and arduous process. Roland won't have to do that anymore. Roland now has a living hydraulic model. As our assets are added to GIS, it's added to the hydraulic model going forward. So we won't have outdated hydraulic models. So the AI component to that, so that's what KTM's doing. KTM, we've given them our hydraulic model. They're working with GeoViewer, making it a living hydraulic model, and now we bring in Fracta. Now, Fracta wants to be fed data. You guys have heard of like Chat GPT, the new Google app where it's writing books now. You can ask it to write a report for you on any topic, and it's able to respond. It's able to go out into the World Wide Web and make a conversational memo for you, or write a children's book for you. It's not going to be always contextually accurate, but it's going to give you a good foundation that you can edit and modify and make it better. And so Fracta is working the same way. Fracta is looking at the hydraulic model. It's getting that from KTM, and it's getting all of the updates. It's also looking at our work orders, our service orders. It's looking at our valve replacements. It's looking at our leaks. It's taking all of this data out of GeoViewer and it's building a thinking model that is trying to predict what our system's needs are. And so it's looking at assets, job planner, total risk, likelihood of failure, consequences of failure. These are the things that we want it to do for us. And so this is what it looks like. This is just a snapshot of one screen, but you can look in the lower right-hand corner and highest risk based upon the color. And so the red areas are the highest risk, right? And then gold to yellow is moderate risk, and then no color, just gray, is lower risk. Won't say no risk, just lower risk. And so what we have a lot of is we have a lot of service line failures. We have very rocky soil, we have hot soil, copper doesn't do well with it, polybutylene hasn't done well with it, and that's why, if you notice, we have a proactive water service line replacement program. So you'll see the red lines, and this was the importance of our hydraulic model, having every service line to every meter, right? We need that information for this to be able to do what it's doing for us now. And so now the AI model is saying, hey, here's, based upon all these environmental factors, and FRACTA does look at other things just than the data that we're feeding into it. FRACTA is looking at what are the environmental concerns. How deep is the main? What is the pipe material? What is the soil makeup? Are there railroad tracks nearby? You know, it's looking at all of these informational points to make predictions on what is a concern. So as you see here, first top risk driver, major roads, built density, it's looking at all of those things. All of these things are populated into it to make it a thinking, living, artificial intelligence that's able to make good assumptions. It looks at breaks by material, breaks by install year. And so, what this is like anything else that you do. It's hard work. It's taking time. It's taking devotion by staff. It's taking buy-in. But the dividends are that the more you put into it, the more effort that you give it, the better predictions that it can make and the better planning tools that you have. Instead of making assumptions on, well, hey, this main line's had 6 main breaks, so let's schedule that for a main replacement, which isn't a bad idea. If it's had that many main breaks, you probably should replace it. But instead of waiting for those failures to occur, what if you could look at those points of failures and know them or have a good idea of them years in advance, and how that you could plan for that in your budgeting, right? Build that into your rate model. We're a system, as I told you, we're on our 70th anniversary next Friday. By some terms in this room, we're a newer system. Some of you were built in the 40s, some of you were built in the 30s, some in the 20s. I worked at the city of Alhambra. Our system, we had water mains still in service that were put in 1907. And when we did valve replacements on those water lines, and they were old cast iron water lines, and when we did valve replacements, we sounded them, we looked at wall thickness, maybe another 100 years. Pretty amazing. But don't want to dig down and do a valve replacement to determine, hey, how good is that main? This can help us. This can help us make those kinds of decisions. This technology can help us run our utilities different, more efficiently, look farther down the road than we've ever been able to look, and make better financial decisions than we've ever been able to make. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Am I on time? I'm a minute over, right? All right. Any questions? Yes.
How long did it take to develop your model?
The hydraulic model? Yeah, unfortunately, it was during the pandemic. that we undertook that task. So that did create some delays, right? But to update it, we started completely new. We didn't take our old model and just try and update the old model. So it was like starting from scratch. And it took us right about a year to get it completely to where it is now. It was about a year's worth of effort. Yes, sir. It was a team effort. We created a project team to work on that, and so we brought in field staff level, director of operations, engineering, project manager, and then myself. I was engaged as well. So it was a team effort. A lot of group meetings, meeting with the engineer that we hired to do the model. But we feel like we have a really good product. We took the time to build it the right way. We spent the money to build it the right way. But hopefully it's the last time we build one. It should be the last time we build one because now it's a living model. Any other questions? And you will hear more about Fracta later on in the conference. So I just wanted to share with you what we're doing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it. So what we're going to do right now is we have some customer testimonial videos, and we're going to go ahead and launch one. And then right after that, we'll introduce our second guest speaker.
Diamond Valley is located in Orange County, California. We have a population of about 56,000, and we fit into about 9.75 square miles. We are a full-service city, and all of our field services and public work are provided by us. The city has been using Nobel's GeoViewer work order system for the last 3 years.
GeoViewer is a data asset management tool. It's something that we use to collect data to help us with planning. It helps us with storing our data, and it helps us with managing all the day-to-day work that our field distribution does out on the system.
Prior to implementing GeoViewer work order, the Public Works Department was using a work order system that was developed in-house. It was prone to errors that were getting harder to recover from, and our IT department had been warning us for quite some time that it might just collapse and not be recoverable.
We used to have staff bring in written daily report, and then that written daily report would go to a secretary of staff, and they would enter it into the old work order system, and then that's how we would record and generate our work orders. This system now, we're able to create it on the online platform, and then we're able to push it out to staff, individual by name, and they could push out to the supervisor, and we're able to record it, and we're able to close it. So it really streamlined our workflow process. We used paper maps, and those paper maps weren't always updated, so being out in the field is very frustrating when you're looking at a map and the valve's in the wrong position or the wrong location, and with no background knowledge of why things changed. So it's definitely been a big help. Moving from paperwork to an actual online tool has been a big step in efficiency.
When we began the process of looking for a new work order system, what helped us to decide to go with Nobel was because since we were already utilizing their GeoViewer online and mobile software for our utilities division, they already had some familiarity with it. Our team was able to incorporate GeoViewer into their daily routines pretty easily, especially considering that we launched this in March of 2020, right when we were starting lockdown for the pandemic. I went into this with very little knowledge of work order systems, and I was the person who was in charge of leading this for our side of things. And just 2.5 months later, we were able to launch it and roll it out. The fact that we were able to successfully launch it really does show how easy it is.
We definitely save time and money for skipping the redundancy of having to enter the work orders. Also, we eliminate a lot of mistakes from the transition to the computer. I know it's been a very efficient product for us, and it's saved a lot of time.
Our productivity has improved since we implemented the work order system. We have a system now that doesn't crash. Our crew members can receive, update, and create work orders in the field. We can easily run reports, look at the work order history of a location, and search for specific work orders. We also can add notes, documents, and pictures to the work orders. It all makes the organizing and tracking of the information much easier. Some of the systems we looked at were too complicated and way over budget for us. GeoViewer has been able to meet our needs and has been able to adapt as our needs change. We've also found that Nobel has been very responsive. After talking to my colleagues and reflecting on the process of researching, selecting, implementing, and using GeoViewer over the last couple of years, I realized it comes down to one word: easy.
Great, and thank you to the City of Fountain Valley and Southgate for the testimonials. Our next speaker is a one-man IT department with the El Toro Water District. He began his career with ETWD 18 years ago and is responsible for IT-related tasks, including the acquisition and deployment of software solutions. He earned his BA and MBA in Management Information Sciences at California State University, Fullerton. As the IT manager with ETWD, his mission is to provide co-workers with both office and field the tools, information that they need in a timely and reliable and secure manner to help streamline their workflow processes. He is an IT jack of all trades with responsibilities ranging from network to phone systems, hardware, software decisions, and sometimes even fixing the pumps, gas pumps when they go down. He's been instrumental in the development and deployment of Nobel solutions at ETWD, and he continues to bring fresh ideas to enhance ETWD's user experience. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the IT manager of El Toro Water District, Mr. Michael Miaz.
Thank you, David. I'm afraid they should have saved the best for last. I don't think I can be as eloquent as Tom, but but let me start with Nobel has really been a crucial part of our transformation, organizational transformation. When I started 20 years ago with the El Toro Water District, we had a Nobel server. We had like 3 servers back there. We were all paper atlas books, no GIS. It was really everything done on paper. And I'll tell you one story to start. Our underground service alerts were coming into a dot matrix machine, printer machine, that would come through like a fax line. And I couldn't keep this dot matrix printer up and running. It would break down. And these were crucial underground service alerts. If somebody started digging and hit one of our pipes, then bad things would happen. So I called underground service alerts and I said, there's got to be a better way. They said, oh, you guys are still on this fax line. It's going straight to this printer. Send them to email. So I made that one change and I sent out an email to everyone. Hey, everyone, we're no longer getting our USAs to this dot matrix printer. Can't keep the thing up and running. It's going to email. I thought there was going to be fisticuffs in the parking lot. It's really, you've got to get the buy-in from your employees for these types of changes. Once they got used to it, they were okay with it, and they saw the benefit to doing something like that. We can't keep the printer up and running. So that's just one story from this transformation, this organizational transformation. And then from that, we digitized in our Atlas books, went to a GIS system, probably 10 years ago. And we've had a couple iterations of mobile service orders and work order systems before we went to Nobel. And there were issues with those. Both of them, we needed to do the combination of the two to get what we wanted out of them. Michael came in and showed me his new version of GeoViewer, and it really excited me. And I thought, let's try to move to this. Gave him our GIS data, and we were up and running in a couple weeks, just with a work order system, just to start playing around with it. My field guys started looking at it, and they love it. They still love it. The interface is quick. The maps come up. The infrastructure is right on the map. The GUI is intuitive. It's really been a successful project for us. The guys still, it's grown over. We've been with Nobel for 5 years now, I think, around that. And we're still developing new applications with it. The field guys still love it. They still bring us new applications to do. And every department, the big selling point for me that a lot of these other systems don't provide is that it works in disconnected mode. And as a water district, we have to be able to get to our atlas books if the cell towers are down, earthquake zones, stuff like that. And that was a big selling point for me, and why we had to use 2 different systems previous to Nobel. Also, being a one-man shop, IT shop, Nobel has become quite an extension of our IT department. Aretha and Jabina have been really great to work with. I kind of get out of I kind of manage the project, help manage the project, but I get out of their way and let them work directly with my departments because they know what they're looking for more than I can tell them what they're looking for. Pump stations, operations. So they've really been an extension of our IT department. The reporting that we get out of Nobel, we can hand right into management and into our board of directors. We do that every month. It really helps streamline the process. The asset management workflows, we keep our GIS up to date using Nobel GeoViewer. If we change out a meter, we just mark it as, hey, we need to update our GIS data. They could actually streamline it even further by hosting our GIS for us, but we want to have our in-house GIS system as well. So we make a note, and it provides a report for engineering every month that, hey, we need to make these changes to our GIS data. And then quarterly, we provide them we provide GeoViewer and Nobel a new GIS data to upload to our cloud services to keep everything in sync. They do system integrations. We're integrated completely with our billing system. When customer service gets a call, they create a service order in CUSI UMS. That service order goes directly to the guys in the field to work on them out in the field. They used to have to come back into the office. I was just there. We've got a pretty long, we call it a panhandle in our district. It's long. So that's could take half an hour to drive all the way out to that site in the district. So that's really streamlined our operations as well. And it's a secure application. It's really customized by department. I have Aretha and Jabina come in, used to be like monthly when we first started this, but now it's more like a quarterly every 6 months, and work with each department for an hour. Hey, what's working? What do you need changed? It's been a really good process, and it's very customized to each department. They have what we call buckets of their work, and they have their applications in the order that they want to see them. For collections, we've done a lot with collections. We've done a sewer line cleaning. There are hot spots that they have to go do root pulling and cutting quarterly or every year at least. And so we've created an application just for those hot spots that refreshes every year. And we can probably take a look at that. The CCTV inspections and video repository is right in GeoViewer now. And we actually have the two flavors. We've got the mobile GeoViewer, and we've also got the online GeoViewer, which people in the office use as the online version. They can look up the videos right from the online version of GeoViewer. It used to have to be where we had to everyone get together and show them where they were. Now it's all streamlined. We wanted to kind of just show a couple screenshots of maybe the sewer line cleaning. They refresh that annually.
You're good. Do you have a USB? Oh, you don't have one. Yes, that should be fine. You won't be able to use the advancer because you don't have a. Are you using PowerPoint?
Just show the screen.
Okay. Are you getting the image?
Oh, you could skip to
You don't have the image?
Oh, okay, that's okay. We'll do it later.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can come to our booth, we'll show you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah?
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I promise you they work, though. Collections also, another application that we've really started using is they're doing restaurant inspections right from an iPad. And they're able to sign the inspection, print it off. They've got a mobile printer, so they are able to inspect the restaurants right from the iPad. It's really been transformative for the organization. Pump stations, we're also using a pressure sensor that Tom had a screenshot of. So that gives automatic notifications if a pressure goes above or below expected pressures. So it's been really helpful. So we've had all of these paper forms, right? We've got pump inspections, we've got the sampling reports, the alarm logs, daily purchase water. All of these forms that we used to carry, the pump stations used to carry around in their truck, fill them out monthly, then have to come back in, put them into an Excel spreadsheet, something like that, for an end-of-month report, and actually do all these hand calculations with these algorithms that they used. We've automated all of that. They've continued to bring us new forms that we put into GeoViewer that just automate all this stuff really easily. Here's one of those reports. And this had all of they used to do these calculations by hand. You'd have to train the new guys on the calculations. Now it's all the end of, really it's just them gathering that data on the iPad and then running this report at the end of the month, and it automatically does the calculations. It really helps pump stations department. Operations, the work orders. So, and they use the work orders that goes right between departments. They customize, they create the work order. Maybe it's an on-call work order, which we treat a little differently than a normal work order. But the on-call guy can go out there, create the work order, do the initial inspection of that system or the whatever's going wrong. He understands that he needs to pass that work order to another department. He's able to reassign that work order to the other department, pump stations, operations, collections, whoever it may be. They're able to do their work, pass it back to a different department. It's all streamlined really well. Under operations, they use their underground service alerts. It actually has the outline of the marking area now. No longer a dot matrix printer. Now it goes right in, the email goes right into GeoViewer. So that goes right onto the iPad. We've got one guy that's dedicated to underground service alerts. He goes out there, marks the ticket, marks it completed, which automatically sends that completed mark to underground service alerts. So they now know that that ticket has been completed and they can start digging. They've actually integrated with our WOX valve turning machine. They can actually run the valve turning machine from the iPad. They no longer need that handheld device that used to run the valve turning machine. At the end of the month, we've customized the report, so we know based on the type, size of valve that they've turned, how many expected turns or how many turns are expected from that valve. And then at the end of the month, when they run that report, they can say, okay, this valve is likely to fail. So because you got two additional turns on that valve. So these are the valves that we should be targeting to replace. They've created applications for excavation and hot permits, and they've gotten all of these inspection applications for operations, which, again, asset management, that helps with our knowing what we need to, capital improvement, and what we need to replace the next year. Customer service applications. The big one is they integrated with our billing system. And so customer services, they can see the customer information in the field now. They can see the historical usage for that customer. So if a customer comes out and they're reading meters or whatever it may be, they can actually talk to them with some knowledge about that certain customer. Because they're asked questions and previously that, well, I can't really see anything I don't know. Now they can actually have some information in the field to talk to that customer about their usage. We haven't gotten the meter reading application yet. We're still using handhelds, actually. We're not AMI yet. Again, transformative. It takes a lot of time, and my GM doesn't see the cost of AMI to the benefit for it. So eventually, we hope. The board does see that, so they're starting to push for it. And then just miscellaneous applications. We used to have a gas checkout form. So like if somebody had to fill a weed whacker with gas, we had a clipboard. You have to put the mileage into the gas system. So it's like anything with paper, I'm just trying to get rid of it. And hey, we should have Nobel make that an application. So that's the generator run log, the gas checkout form. The EPA, I know anyone in water, you have to do the lead and copper line reports now. Nobel created an application for that, so they're doing that on an iPad. The field notes and redlining, if the guys are out there and they say, hey, our GIS data is wrong. GIS is always finding improvements. And so they see a meter in the wrong place, they can redline it, send it to engineering, they can make the change. It's really streamlined that process. The drought reduction and fraction, this was really big a few years back, not so much right now, but this really streamlined that as well for the customer service calls and the people reporting people for sprinkling on the wrong day, whatever it may be. And they do have the inventory. I've been trying to get that implemented. We've tried twice now, I think, but again, can't get the buy-in from my purchasing agent and stuff like that. But we're going to continue to try. But yeah, GeoViewer has been really transformative for us, really helped us get rid of the paper. And my field guys love it. Maps work great. Spitting out reports, streamlining the processes. And yeah, any questions for me? Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So right now, we'll just take a 15-minute break to give everyone a chance to stretch their legs, get something to drink, a little something to eat, and then we'll just meet back here in about 15 minutes. Yeah, and be sure to, go around to our different partners and ask questions. Okay.
Sure.
Can I see?